Hey there, this is Alan. This is Alan's Music Room, and this is sort of a bonus episode. I literally just got home from vacation, for a week vacation. So I didn't really have a show planned tonight because I wasn't even sure that I was going to be getting home in time to do one. So I got home literally just a little bit ago and thought, well, I need to get a show out. I didn't do one last week because Sunday night rolled around and I just was not feeling well. So I skipped last week and I didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row. So here we are, Sunday, June 6th at 8 o'clock Eastern. And I'm going to, we'll just do a short little thing. I just didn't want to miss 2 Sundays in a row. So first, I guess I will tell you about any upcoming shows that we have. Let's see. First of all, next week, what I have planned is it's the 40th anniversary of the release of Duran Duran's first album. So I'm going to be doing, with a couple of guests, 40 years of Duran Duran. I've got a couple of people who said they would do it with me who are like super experts on the subject. So I'm really looking forward to that one. On June 20th, hang on, I got a comment. Let's see what somebody says. Hey, I've already got a question. So anyway, so I was on vacation in Florida. We went to Cocoa, and Jared Cooper asks, what did I think of the Saturn V Center? So we went to Kennedy on Wednesday, I think it was. And I think they're doing reduced hours. They're only open 10 to 4. And there's so much stuff to see in 6 hours. It's just impossible, especially since the Saturn V complex is a 25-minute bus ride away. So you have to wait for a bus, then you do a 25-minute bus ride. Then you have to go through a couple of preliminary film things before you actually get to see Saturn. I'd seen the Saturn V at Huntsville, and that was just incredible. So I kind of knew what to expect, from seeing it this time. But it was really neat. I loved it. I had a fantastic time at Kennedy, even though with 4 hours, 6 hours, you just cannot do everything. But we got a lot done. And interestingly enough, one of the last things that I saw before we left the complex was a plaque of Nichelle Nichols with a quote about the space program. And as you probably know, she was instrumental in the early years of the shuttle program, getting NASA more diverse, finding more persons of color and more women, recruiting. She was big in their recruitment process. And there's a new documentary about that on Paramount Plus that I'm going to be watching tonight as soon as I finish this. And that's going to feed into my Star Trek podcast. We were planning on reviewing that documentary, but after I saw Nichelle's plaque at Kennedy, I was like, oh, we have to do it this week. So we'll be doing that on next week's Star Trek podcast. Jared also says they rent the Saturn V complex out for events. We still have a pending event there with John Delancey when they allow events again. That's super cool. That's really cool. It's a fantastic facility. And of course, John Delancey, come on. So let's see. Next week is 40 years of Duran Duran. June 20th is going to be a special episode on SNL music guests, which I was originally going to do this past Sunday, but again, not feeling well. So I rescheduled that. And I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be talking about some of the iconic music performances on Saturday Night Live. We're going to be talking about some of the musicians who have done hosting duties and which ones were, the really good ones and which ones weren't so much. talk about skits about like parodies of music icons and all kinds of things. So I'm really looking forward to that show. And then on June 27th, I'm planning to do a special show on music conspiracies. I am so excited about that one. I've got a couple of things in mind. I know my buddy Ashley is going to be joining me, and I'm going to be looking for a couple of other folks to join me with their own conspiracy theories that they are excited about. And we're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff on that show. A couple of other upcoming things. There's a lot of stuff that happened in 1981. So we've got a couple of other 40th anniversary shows coming up. One is the 40th anniversary of the Go-Go's. The June 27th episode will kind of tie into the release of their first album, Beauty and the Beat. So we're going to be talking a lot about that and the recent, documentary that's come out about them. July 25th. What did I say? That was July 11th. That's the episode. July 25th. Stevie Nicks released her first solo album, Belladonna. So we're going to be talking about Stevie's career as a solo artist, as her continuing role as a member of Fleetwood Mac, and talking specifically about Belladonna. And then August 1st, the day of the anniversary, I'm super excited. We're going to be doing a special episode on the 40th anniversary of MTV, one of the biggest landscape changing events in the history of the music industry. I've been reading this week on my vacation. I started this book, I Want My MTV, which I'm really enjoying, and learning a lot of the like in the office kind of things. So a lot of stuff that's going on in the background, and really enjoying it. And I've got another book after that I'm going to be reading. So I'm super excited about the MTV episode. And that again is August 1st. Some other things that I've got coming up is the 40th anniversary of the movie Heavy Metal. The new James Bond film comes out in October, so I'm going to be doing a special episode about Bond themes and Bond music. Later in October, the 40th anniversary, I guess it is, of Rush's Exit Stage Left. So I've got some folks who are going to be joining me to talk about that album and Rush tours and concerts in general. And then in November, we have it's going to be two separate shows, but it's one anniversary. It's of the passing of Eric Carr and Freddie Mercury. So we're going to be doing two separate shows 1 week apart on both of those gentlemen and their incredible career. So that's what I've got going on for my show upcoming. If you've got any questions for me, I would love to hear them. Ask me to rank my favorite whatever albums or drummers or anything. If you've got, two artists, make me pick between Metallica and, Motorhead or whatever, pitch those kind of things and we'll get this show rolling. And if nobody has any questions, it'll be a short show. I just didn't want to go 2 Sundays in a row without doing one. Jared also says, spoiler alert, I interviewed Dolly Parton for my Christmas Eve Odyssey show this year. It was awesome talking to her about her iconic Christmas songs and trips to Taco Bell. That's fantastic. Her Christmas album, Have a Holly Dolly Christmas, is very cute. It's a really sweet album. It came out this past Christmas season, and really enjoyed it. It's a mix of traditional songs and newly written songs, so it's definitely worth checking out. What else? What else can I talk about? That's all I got. So if y'all need to ask me a question or two. Let's see what happened this week. Let's see some music. Well, I got the new Styx song to talk about. Wait, here is a question. Jared again says, any artists you feel are better as a solo artist rather than part of a group? Phil Collins and Genesis is a example. Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20. Why the hell did I say Matchbook? Matchbox 20. That's a good question. Who could I think of that fits that bill? I'm not a big Phil Collins fan, so definitely not him. But I'm also not a big fan of him as a part of Genesis after Peter Gabriel and Steve Hackett left, because the sound changed so dramatically after that prog influence left. And, he got hold of the band and started doing junk like Illegal Alien, and I just can't stand it. So the last really, really classic Genesis, even though there was some good stuff beyond that point, the last really classic Genesis album for me was Duke in 1980. It's a superb album. But yeah, I definitely don't think of him as better as a solo artist. I just don't like his solo stuff either. So who could I think of? I can't think of anybody just right off the top of my head. I know there's somebody, but you have stumped me already. So one question in and I'm already stumped. That's not good. Let's see. What else can we talk about? Let me see if I've got any other, let's see. I want to do a show on the Beatles as 4 solo artists. I'm looking forward to doing that at some point in the coming year. I also thought about doing one on Fleetwood Mac as solo artists, because nearly every member of that band, and there have been a lot of members of that band, have had significant solo careers. You think of Stevie, obviously, but Christine and Lindsay both have. Bob Welch did. Danny Kerwin never really did much as a solo artist or had any kind of success outside of the band. But a lot of the other members did. Dave Mason, most people only think of Dave Mason as a solo artist. He way later became a member of Fleetwood Mac, so we could talk about his solo stuff. I want to do a show about rock documentaries or concert films. So if anybody wants to join me to talk about that, that would be exciting. And I want to do one about, and this was kind of inspired by, we did a show about Jim Steinman a few weeks ago, right after he passed away. And of course, you've talked about Jim Steinman. You are going to talk about, rock musicals. So I would love to do a show about jukebox musicals. Look at that. Wait. Jared says musicals based on the music of popular artists. Exactly right. That's exactly what I was talking about. Are a big thing now. What artist or group would you like to see a musical produced on the catalog? I have a definitive answer for that. And it's kind of it's not a very nice answer. It's a bad answer. David Bowie. There has been a musical, a Bowie musical, which he put together. One of the last projects he did before he passed away is called Lazarus. It is really interesting. The staging is really avant-garde, we'll say. The song selection is very unusual in that it's not a jukebox musical in the sense of there being like built around hits. There's a lot of deep tracks that were used. And in fact, there were 3 songs that were written specifically for the musical. So while you're hearing some of the older stuff, the big hits aren't really in the musical, except for like Changes and Heroes, but they're different versions. So it doesn't sound like what you would expect it to sound like. And then there's a lot of deep cuts that are used as well. And then 3 songs that when you first go to see the musical, you would never have heard before. So it's a really interesting one, and it's really odd. It's not for the general public. You know, it's not something that you would, fill the Fox Theater with, because it's just unusual. And I think it's wonderful. I really enjoy it. And I have loved, I saw it once and really loved it, but I would like to see a more traditional Bowie musical done, built around hits and make it a celebration of, the kind of things that he would write songs about. So that's one. I would love to see a Heart one. That would be a lot of fun. And actually, there's a number of things. I would love to see a Rush one. It would be very sci-fi, obviously. It would be built around 2112, but would also use some other songs from other periods of their catalog. I would love to see that done. So yeah, there's quite a few of those kind of things, and I want to do a whole episode on those jukebox musical kind of things. So we will work on that at some point in the coming year. I'll put that out. All right, so I think, unless one other question comes in, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I just wanted to pop in really quickly and say hello. Make sure the YouTube channel is still active. Didn't want to skip 2 weeks in a row. That's a terrible way to run a YouTube channel. So I hope everyone has a lovely, lovely week. Wait, Vicky Henson says, hi. Hi, Vicky. How are you? I hope you're having a lovely night. Vicky, I want you to pitch me a question. Something, either a ask me anything or a top 5 or a make me pick between 2 artists or, whatever you can think of. Pitch me one last question before I sign off. And I'll give you a few minutes so you can just do that. But it's lovely to see you. For those who don't know, Vicky is with a local band called Spirit of Rush. And they have announced their first post-COVID show. I'm so excited. They're one of my favorite local bands to see. First of all, because I love Rush. And second of all, because they're a really good band. So I also should say that my band, Hardisons, which is a Heart tribute band, we have our first gig coming up June 26th at the Tin Roof Cantina on North Druid Hills, for those of you who are in the Atlanta area. And I'm super excited to get back to playing live. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. And then I've got another gig coming up in August. Yeah, with my other band, Jerome Benton and the band Who Fell to Earth. That's a David Bowie cover band. So I'm very excited about that. And Vicky says, how did you get started in music? That is a very good question. I think I was always musically inclined. And I remember the first record I ever got that was an actual album, not like one of the K-Tel, here's the best hits of 1976 or whatever stupid crap they used to put out. The first record I ever got was Love Gun by Kiss. And the odd thing was that I had no interest in Kiss at the time. I was 13 or whatever I was, and got given this in 77. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this? But anyway, I started listening to it, and I started to kind of really get into it. And I started to teach myself to play drums by listening to that album. I was really drawn to what Peter Criss was doing on the album. And I actually don't remember my origin as a drummer, but I do remember teaching myself, as far as having interest in drums. But I remember teaching myself how to play the rhythms that he was doing and the stick work that he was doing and that kind of stuff by listening to Love Gun. And Vicky knows this part of the story. The next thing that really ignited me as a musician was being introduced to Rush, both as a musician and as a writer, because Neil Peart, of course, just opened huge vistas of possibility as far as how to play drums and how to think about playing drums, and the importance of when not to play as much as when to play. And not only that, but he was the lyricist for the band. So I was really drawn to the fact that the drummer was the one who wrote, over the course of their career, 98.5% of all their lyrics. And they were super deep and really intelligent lyrics. And so that really inspired me. And over the years, really became a writer, developed my interest in writing, wrote some poetry, wrote a lot of song lyrics, started writing essays and stuff like that. So, I've published a few books now and started a publishing company and that kind of stuff. So that is all down to Neil Peart. So origins of being a musician really come down to listening to the radio as I was growing up and just really being drawn in to the performances, to what's happening in the instruments. What instrument is playing this part? What is it that the drummer is doing? And that's where it really started. But then it was Peter Criss and Neil Peart who developed that passion. So that's the question. She says, thank you, I suppose, for pitching their show. You have to go see Spirit of Rush. Vicky, feel free to post the date and location in the comments, because I do not remember, and I apologize for that. And she says, Rush rules forever. And I obviously agree about that. Huge Rush fan. And they are playing August 6th at Tannery Row. Very exciting. Tannery Row is a phenomenal place. If you are in the area, go see them. So I had Vicky on my show a couple of weeks ago, just talking about Rush and her new book of poetry and all this kind of stuff. And I do plan on having her and hopefully some of her band members on again in October when we hit the anniversary of Exit Stage Left. Or is it Show of Hands? Now I can't remember. Where we talk about the Rush concert films and Rush shows that we've seen and the big tours that they've done and stuff. I'm looking forward to that. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. I just wanted to, as I said earlier, pop in and say hello. Thank you all for watching and for the couple of questions that I got. I really appreciate it. I will be back next Sunday night. I got a contact to the guests that said they would sit in with me, but the plan is that we'll be doing 40 years of Duran Duran. That's going to be a good one. So hope you join in next week, and I will see you soon. Everybody take care. Have a lovely night. Be kind to each other, and we'll see you next Sunday. Ciao. I don't know why I said ciao.